Can President Bukele weigh in on this? Do you plan to return him?
Well, I'm supposed to be suggesting that I smuggle a terrorist into the United States, right? How can I return him to the United States? Like, I smuggle him into the United States, or what do I do? Of course, I'm not going to do it. It's like, the question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? I don't have the power to return him to the United States.
So you can release him inside El Salvador?
Yeah, but I'm not releasing, we're not very fond of releasing terrorists into our country. We just turned the murder capital of the world into the safest country of the Western Hemisphere, and you want us to go back into releasing criminals so we can go back to being the murder capital of the world? No, that's not going to happen.
What we're witnessing isn't justice, it's institutional betrayal. The legal system of the United States, once a guardian of individual liberty and property rights, has been co-opted into a bureaucratic apparatus that now enables the very destruction of the nation it was built to protect. It no longer functions as a shield for the citizen, it's become a sword wielded against them. Under the pretense of due process, the U.S. judicial system has become an instrument of national self-destruction. What is framed as a legal obligation is, in practice, a deliberate paralysis of sovereignty.
The Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela mass humanitarian parole program gave nationals from those countries a path to legal status in the United States. The judge ruling instead that each migrant is entitled to a case-by-case review.
I think there needs to be an investigation of how Judge Boasberg got this case in the first place. He wasn't the emergency assignment judge. He took the case at 1 in the morning. He may or may not have been tipped off that this case was being filed by an outside party. That needs to be looked at. He was also slapped down by the United States Supreme Court for interfering in core Article 2 powers, Commander-in-Chief powers. You can't direct foreign policy of the president from the bench.
We are expected to believe that every one of the estimated 20 to 35 million illegal aliens who have unlawfully entered and now reside within our borders must receive full judicial proceedings prior to removal.
I do intend to keep at this until we ensure that Mr. Obrador Garcia has his rights to due process, which is what the courts of the United States have called for. They have said that his abduction is illegal, and they have called on him to be brought back to the United States.
An absurd and unworkable notion by any measure of time, manpower, or institutional capacity. This isn't law. It's logistical sabotage masquerading as constitutional fidelity.
Judge James Boasberg is accusing the administration of a hurried removal operation. The planes landed in El Salvador even though he ordered them to turn around.
No nation on earth could withstand the burden of processing tens of millions of foreign nationals through an individualized legal system. And to pretend otherwise is either intellectual dishonesty or willful complicity. The result is as predictable as it is catastrophic.
He is President Bukele's citizen. He is President Bukele's resident. He is not a Maryland man. He is not a Maryland anything. He is an illegal alien from El Salvador with a deportation order from the United States. He is not legally even allowed to be in our country. Under the due process that these Democrats so venerate for illegal invaders, it is legally impermissible for him to have one more minute in this country.
Endless delays, overwhelmed courts, and a national immigration policy dictated not by law, but by inertia. By the time this so-called process is complete, if it ever is, the Republic will no longer exist in any recognizable form. It will have been hollowed out from within, not by an invading army with weapons, but by an internal bureaucracy wielding the language of justice as a tool of surrender.
They want to have the American people say it's okay to just disappear people. Right. And somehow they think if they can make up lies about him, if they can do whatever they want, then the answer will be the American people will settle for this. We do not disappear people in the United States. Because here's the thing, if they can disappear Mr. Abrego Garcia, then they can disappear you.
And you want to know who else says that? Hillary Clinton, who posted that this is real.
This isn't due process. It's legal warfare. What we are experiencing is the equivalent of a nationwide squatting crisis, where illegal entrants exploit court procedure not as a shield of innocence, but as a delay tactic, eroding the very concept of property rights and national borders under the false banner of constitutional protection. The courts, rather than safeguarding American citizens, are now the preferred instrument of those who entered illegally and seek to extract every benefit from a system they were never invited into. Ask yourself, why resort to force when the legal system can be used more effectively to dismantle a nation from within? The consequences are no longer speculative. They're observable. Public schools are overrun, healthcare systems are strained beyond function, and social services, once a lifeline for the vulnerable, are collapsing under unsustainable demand. The very programs built to serve American citizens are being hijacked and depleted by those who broke the law to be here. And yet the courts do nothing. Worse, they are bound by procedural doctrine to pretend that each individual case must be evaluated in isolation, as though the cumulative impact on the nation is irrelevant. But the country is not collapsing case by case, it's collapsing all at once. There is no national survival without prioritization, and the first priority of any judicial system must be its own citizens. A legal system that cannot distinguish between lawful presence and unlawful invasion, between citizens and foreign violators, between sovereign duty and ideological delusion, is a system no longer capable of upholding justice. This isn't just a failure of the courts, it's the culmination of treason at the highest levels of government. President Joe Biden knowingly and willfully abandoned the enforcement of existing immigration law, all while publicly claiming that Congress must act, despite full statutory authority already vested in the executive branch to secure the border. In doing so, he permitted a foreign invasion, compromised the welfare of American citizens, and violated the oath he swore to uphold. This isn't incompetence, it's betrayal. And yet no charges have been filed, no trial has been set, no legal reckoning has occurred. The rule of law, it seems, applies only to those who still believe in it. What remains is not justice, but theater, a system hollowed out and repurposed to protect criminals, punish patriots, and exhaust the nation through procedural slow death. The only path forward is to reassert the primacy of citizen rights over foreign claims and restore the courts to their rightful role, protectors of the American people, not adjudicators of their destruction. Until that's done, the phrase rule of law will remain a cruel joke, played at the expense of the very people it was meant to serve.
What about the human right of a woman not to be raped? I mean, what about the human right of kids to play or to be free or to go to the park? And what about the human right to live? Or the human right to walk in the street, right? But no, they were worried about the human rights of the killers.